When it came knocking, did you hear it? When it was in front of you, did you see it? Or did you look right through it, completely oblivious to what you had? See, opportunity is a subtle creature, a mystery to the universe, misinterpreted as this obvious treasure calling out to you, when in actuality it's the map. It's the road, it's the courage to move forward. Opportunity's not the moon, the sun, or the stars. It's the staircase that takes you higher, the pieces that come together to comprise your universe. And when that sun comes up, the light sets, your eyes open, you wake up and breathe your first breath. Understand that you are breathing in opportunity. It's not what you look at, it's what you see, and befitting of the message, it's easy to push this away as insignificant or fluff. But let me ask you this. How does one person turn adversity into the very reason they succeed, and another turn that same adversity into a ball and chain? Why do some run toward chaos and others retreat? How can one person transform a loss now into a win later, and another person view that same defeat as the end? Well, the answer's simple, really. Did you seek out the opportunity or did you not? That is the question. And when you strip life down of its complexities, the patterns become apparent. The people who win never ask if it's possible, if it can happen. No, they begin with the premise that it sure can. The question is how? How can I make this a reality? How can I turn the world around me, the events taking place, whether challenging, strenuous, reassuring, or anything in between? How can I position them to lift me up? That is the opportunity. And without that realization, there never will be your pot of gold. Right? It begins in your head and is projected out. They say fake it till you make it. Well, I'll tell you, there's something to that. Because if you never put a dream or a goal or a plan into existence, no matter how small, it simply fails to exist. You have to see your city on the hill when it's just rocks. It's not a waste. It's not stupid. It's not irrational, because you know what it can be. They don't, but you do, and that's opportunity. Their wasteland is your future empire. Their free time is your launch pad. Their hopelessness is your reassurance. They see blank space, and you see infinity waiting to be unpacked and expanded. Look, there will be a day when they'll wonder how you did it, how you made what you have a reality. Well, you saw it. You simply saw what could be, and when you see opportunity, your mind, your body, and your life conform. So throw away the ifs and start asking how. In your world, there are no problems. Simply opportunities. In your world, there is no end. Only new beginnings. The same is never extraordinary. It's never remarkable or memorable, will never be talked or written about. So why then is it so frequently sought after? What compels us to wander down this path of familiarity? The same path covered up with the footprints of millions who have already been there before you, who have done it before, who've been deceived by it before. Following the footsteps of the majority, it guarantees one thing: that you will get what the majority has. You'll get their comfort, their reassurance, their sense of belonging, but that's half the deal. Because the path also comes with unanswered questions. It comes with never knowing what's possible or could have been, or your potential. See, being the same is like ibuprofen. It addresses the symptom, not the root cause. It fulfills an immediate need. But like a dwindling flame, you'll see more and more every day that it's not capable of keeping the room lit. The same means you didn't ask yourself what's right, you asked the world around you. And contrary to what most believe, these answers are not congruent. You can't follow the crowd and follow your heart. You can't be what's popular and be what's true to yourself. You can't be the same and be significant. If you want to achieve, think differently. Stop waiting in lines for things you don't want. They will not bring you fulfillment. They will not lift you up or set you apart or give you meaning. Conformity has a ceiling, and your potential does not. This creates conflict. It breeds missed opportunities and wasted potential. If there is one thing I want you to take away from this, one thing, understand that the size of a crowd is not proportional to the value of the decision it's making. Millions and millions can miss the very opportunity that one person saw. The whole world can turn away from the answer that one person believed in. To mindlessly join the march is to forfeit that opportunity, to be that one person. To bring something to the table, to change the world and redraw the lines around humanity that box so many of us in. The temporary comfort of belonging, it's a false god. It brings you nothing but away from where you want to be, from where you can be. The goal is not to be them, it's to be yourself and in turn create a better world for them, for yourself, for your dreams, for what's possible. To get something different, you have to do something differently. Don't conform to what's there, find what's not. Don't listen to what's said, write new words to be spoken. Don't follow yesterday's path, pave a new path for tomorrow. What's standing, it already exists. Your treasure lies in the gaps and blank spaces between them. The things that people walk right by. That's what you need. That's what the world needs, even if they don't know it. Look, you may not be understood now, but like anything of value, of true meaning, that time will come. Just at a cost the majority is not willing to pay. But if you are, your path will lead you past mediocrity, past conformity, past the average, and towards the best things this world has. You didn't see what is, you saw what could be, and you created it. And there is nothing more powerful than that.
Follow your dreams. Everyone on this earth has dreams. I'm not talking about the kind you always have when you're asleep at night. I'm talking about the picture in your mind of where you want to be. Your dream life, let's say, right? Now for some people, it's more money to do the things that they want, to run a big company, to travel the world with the ones that they love, or to travel into the outer reaches of space. We all have dreams. But what is truly sad, like the saddest thing of all, is that only a tiny percentage of people on this earth actually follow their dreams. Most people look at this vision in their mind, this dream, as an illusion, as an impossibility, or something that they can't or won't be able to obtain, something that they cannot have. They actually tell themselves that they're crazy to even think that they can have it. Well, I say that you're crazy to think that you can't. Why can't you have the life that you want? Be the person you want. See all the places you want. The only thing stopping you is you. Stop thinking of all the reasons why you can't have what you want and start thinking about all the ways that you can. It all starts with baby steps. See, what most people do is they look at this dream of theirs as this huge staircase, thousands of steps high, like something in ancient China or something, right? And their dream or goal is at the top. And how they think this whole thing works is that they have to somehow find their way to the top or be transported to the top in an instant. And they go around in circles in their mind and they think and even try a load of things that they hear can get them to the top in a minute, and all their dreams come true. And when the first one of these ideas don't work, and then the second, and then the third, and so on, they give up on their dream. So what they need to realize is if they just put their head down and looked at the very first step and said, how can I climb this one step? See, that's a much easier thing to deal with than this massive staircase all in one go, right? So you look at just the first step and you put your foot out and you climb up, and suddenly you're on your way. And you still can't look at the top. You don't ignore the top, you know it's there, but you don't focus on it. You now only focus on the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and so on, until suddenly you look up and you're at the top. And you realize that your dream is actually where you are right now. Follow your dreams and don't give up on them.
What's up, world? That's right, it's your boy Logan here with Why Be Normal. You already know the mantra, you already know the slogan. Why be normal when you can be extraordinary? I want to ask you, what's your why? Like, see, it has to be bigger than you. Because see, one thing that I realize is that, see, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to hit that snooze button 4, 5, 6 times because, see, it's all about you. You selfish. That's part of the problem on why stuff ain't flourishing for you. That's part of the problem on why your dreams haven't became a reality. That's part of the problem on why you only giving 60, 70, 80%. Because you making it about you and you wondering why stuff ain't flourishing for you. So what I need you to do is this week, I need you to not make it about you, and I need What's up, world? That's right, it's your boy Logan here with Why Be Normal. You already know the mantra, you already know the slogan. Why be normal when you can be extraordinary? I want to ask you, what's your why? Like, see, it has to be bigger than you. Because, see, one thing that I realize is that, see, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to hit that snooze button 4, 5, 6 times because, see, it's all about you. You selfish. That's part of the problem on why stuff ain't flourishing for you. That's part of the problem on why your dreams haven't became a reality. That's part of the problem on why you only giving 60, 70, 80%. Because you making it about you and you wondering why stuff ain't flourishing for you. So what I need you to do is this week, I need you to not make it about you, and I need you to make it about your why. You see, my kids are my why. My fiance is my You see, my mom was inconsistent in and out of my life. I don't have a very close-knit relationship with my family. And see, we not finna do that anymore. I told you all, the negative cycle stops with me. It ends with me. And that's where it's gonna stop. So let me ask you, what's your why? Because see, if it was easy, we all know the saying, everybody would do it. Because see, that's what normal people do. Because see, for us here at YB Normal, normal is born. You see, here at YB Normal, normal people scare us. Do they scare you? I love you.
So if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just be talking about you want to make 6 figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you do the 3 things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do. You will be able to accomplish whatever you want to academically, financially, relationally, whatever. So 3 things. All right, now I'm going to tell you this story. I got to get out of here. And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money. And so he went to this guru, right? And he told the guru, I want to be on the same level you on. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He liked the beach. I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. He should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he like, this guy crazy. Adrian, he like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had it right around this area, the shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He making money, but he crazy. Said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. It was right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This guy is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratching, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answer the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Live. I'm looking for a different word, though, than live. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to want it. You got to go days without, listen to me, you got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat. Beyonce said once she was on the set doing her thing, 3 days had gone by, she forgot she didn't eat. Because she was engaged. I never forget when 50 Cent was doing his movie, I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep, he said, sleep. Sleep is for those people who are broke. I don't sleep. He said, I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality. Football players, how many football players? Got anybody like football in here? Raise your hand. Anybody like football? Emmitt Smith. I used to be a Cowboy fan before they did my boy Tom Landry wrong. I used to be a Cowboy fan. And watch this, there was a commercial. Emmitt Smith had won his first Super Bowl, and he had this commercial when he was lifting weights. I don't know if you saw the commercial when he was lifting, and Emmitt said, you know what? I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. He was doing his bench press. So he said, I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. So he throws up about 325, boom, and he rests for about 2 seconds. Then he, boom, boom, boom. Did you see that? He'd already won a Super Bowl. He said, I think I'm going to take a rest. And he rests for how long? 1 second. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. And I'm here to tell you today, if you got somebody came in my office the other day crying. I said, look, don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it. Don't go to sleep until you succeed. Listen to me. I'm here to tell you today that you can come here, you can jump up, you can do flips, you can be excited when we give away money. But listen to me, you'll never be successful until I don't have to give you a dime to do what you do. You won't be successful until you say, I don't need that money, because I got it in here. So listen to me. Emmitt Smith said this at the end of the commercial. Emmitt Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. I'm going to say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. So that means that there are some people who are going to see the professor, going to see the TA. And even when the professor says, I don't meet with you, my TA meets with you, you say, I don't want to talk to your TA. That's what it is. I don't pay the TA. That's right. I pay you to teach me. So you're going to have to find some time to meet me. If I got to meet you at the mall, if I got to meet you at your house, you are going to see me. Listen to me. All men are created equal. Some work hard in preseason. When I went to college, guys were way smarter than me. 4.0s, 3.0s. They went to the Ivy League high schools, came to Oakwood from these great high schools. Most of them are not doing what I'm doing. Why? Because it's not about where you come from. It's about heart. You come to a place where, being smart ain't enough. You got to have heart. That's number one. Watch number two. Number two, catch number two. I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure you got it. It says to be, watch this. We're talking about sacrifice now. The important thing is this. You're writing while I'm saying it, because I only have about 3 more minutes. Listen to me. The most important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. That's the number 2 thing. You got to catch that one. To be able to, listen to me, at any moment. Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attach to it. For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna hurt somebody. Some of you need to give up your cell phone, because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success. The time you could be using to be successful, you're using it on the cell. And the cell phone is not bringing you nothing but a bill. And somebody has told you you couldn't live without it. I'm talking about going deep now, giving up stuff. Watch what it says. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. But I dare you to fail in writing for a whole year to see if you can get to the end. I dare you to fail. I dare you to take that same class over and over again. I dare you to stop dropping classes like you soft. always want to give up. I'm dropping. Why are you dropping? I'm so grateful that the slaves didn't drop and quit. Say, I'm just going to stop. I'm a slave. I'm just going to be a slave. I'm going to quit. Listen to me. The slaves said, we will live because one day we will become.
Today what we're going to be talking about is the 5 major habits that I have found almost every successful person has. Now, the first one, which I think is probably the most important, but for some reason, I find that almost every single successful person does this. And Tim Ferriss, in his new book, talks about that he's interviewed hundreds and hundreds of millionaires and billionaires and influencers and some of the most successful people in the world. And the first thing that he says that 85 to 90% of them wake up early and have some sort of morning routine. And so if you just look at some of the people that I was able to find out have morning routines, you have Jack Dorsey, who started Twitter. He wakes up at 5:30 every single morning and he's a multi-billionaire. Richard Branson, who obviously founded Virgin and many companies and is a multi-billionaire as well, says he wakes up at 5:45 every single morning. He actually opens his shutters so that the sun, when it comes into his room and makes him wake up. You also look at Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple. He says he wakes up at 4:30 every single morning. You look at Howard Schultz, who's the guy who founded and is the CEO of Starbucks. He wakes up at 5:30 every morning. So the number one thing that I find that most successful people, extremely successful people do is they wake up early and they have some sort of morning routine. And you might ask yourself, why would they wake up early? The reason why is because that's the time where they can focus on themselves. When you go into the office or you go into work, usually you're on someone else's time, whether you own your own business and you're on all of your employees' time, making sure everything's in place and everything's going the right way. Or number 2 is you're on your boss's time if you work for somebody. So if you have to leave your house at 8 a.m. and you wake up at 7:30, you jump in the shower and all of those things, you leave at 8, you're immediately waking up to go into somebody else's time. That's what you're doing. You're focusing on somebody else as soon as you wake up in the morning. These people like to focus on themselves, so they wake up a couple hours early. They meditate. They do morning routines. They journal. They have workout exercises. They have a routine, so they wake up a couple hours early to work on themselves before they do anything else. It's just like when the plane is going down, they say put the oxygen on yourself first. When you wake up in the morning, focus on yourself first, because that will then make everybody else around you and make your life better as well. So the first thing is obviously a morning routine. The second thing that I found with the most successful people is they are very, very big on not only making goals, but actually writing their goals down. And this is key because 40 years ago, Harvard did a study and they found out that out of everyone that was in their classes or students that were there, only about 3% of them actually wrote their goals down on a piece of paper. Now, some people knew their goals or what their goals were, but not all of them, only 3% of them wrote them down with a piece of pen and paper and wrote it down. And what they found 30 years down the road when they went back and looked at them was that 3% that wrote down their goals were 10 times more successful than the other 97% 30 years down the road. So if you could take a page out of their book, for some reason, writing down your goals makes it seem real in your brain. It makes you clarify exactly what you want. It makes you put a date and a deadline on exactly what you want. Sometimes it makes you look at it and say, well, now that this is on a piece of paper, I need to actually make a plan of how to hit these goals versus them just floating around in your brain. So if you have goals or New Year's resolutions that you're working on, don't just let them float around in your brain. Put them on a piece of paper. Put a deadline to it. Put a goal down on the piece of paper and figure out when you're going to do it, the plan of what you have to do to get there, how you're going to get there. All of those things are important. So the most successful people write it down on a piece of paper, because when it's in your brain, it's just kind of floating around in your brain. But when it's on a piece of paper, it is physical and it is now something that is real and exists in the world. So the second thing they do is they write down all of their goals. The third thing that I found with most successful people is they have a habit of creating mentors, like going out and actually finding mentors or actually finding coaches to make them be better at whatever it is that they're working towards. And there was a study that I found that said that the average millionaire over the course of their lifetime has had 7 very serious mentors or coaches. Now, why is that important? Because if you're trying to get really good at something or you're in a certain industry, why not take your time, your money, your energy, and invest it into getting a mentor or a coach who's been doing it longer than you? Because here's the thing, they could teach you 20 years of experience of what they've done right, what they've done wrong, most importantly, and they could teach you all of that in a much shorter period of time than it would take you to go out, make mistakes, and learn for yourself. So basically what a coach or a mentor does is it shortens your learning curve. You know, what they learned in 20 years in the industry, you might be able to learn in 2 years. That gives you an extra 18 years to get better at whatever it is that you're focusing on. So if you don't have a mentor, you don't have a coach, ask yourself, how can you find a mentor or coach? Whether that's someone, a lot of people say, I wish I could find a mentor that I don't have to pay for. But when I was 19 years old, I paid $500 a month, which was more than I paid in rent, to have my very first mentor, which at that point in time, I thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was crazy too. But it was the best decision I ever made because it got me to be successful a lot quicker than if I had just tried to go out and figure it out myself. And when you pay to have a mentor versus just having a friend who is a mentor, but when you have a paid mentor, they actually, because of the fact they're accepting your money, they actually feel some sort of responsibility for your success. So they're more likely to help you along the way of success and go out of their way to help you be more successful as well. So the third thing that I found for the most successful people in the world is that they always have mentors and coaches. The fourth thing that I found as far as a habit is positive self-talk. They believe in themselves. They have self-confidence. And I want to tell you this, nobody's born with self-confidence. Confidence is something that you pick up along the way to success. But what they seem to realize is that they believe in themselves, and when they believe in themselves, they're much more likely to get there. And the way that I like to think about it is this. My favorite analogy dealing with the way that we think in our minds has to do with a garden. So the analogy is, think of your mind as a garden, and you are the only person that can tend to this garden. Nobody else can. It's impossible to go out and plant strawberry seeds in that garden and expect that somehow you're going to grow tomatoes. It's impossible. You can't put strawberry seeds in the ground and get tomatoes. Just like you can't plant negative thoughts or talk to yourself negatively in your head and expect that you're just going to have positive life or a positive outcome or a positive attitude, right? You have to learn that because let's be honest, most of us are really, really harsh on ourselves. We would never talk to somebody that we love the way that we talk to ourselves in our own heads. That should not be the case though. So when you start to notice yourself talking down to yourself, you need to immediately stop it and replace that thought with something positive. Because at this point in time, if you've been talking down to yourself for a while, it's somewhat of a habit. And the only way to actually break a habit is to stop it as soon as you get into the middle of it. As soon as it starts, you try to stop it as quickly as possible. And what you have to realize is you can't always control your first thought at this point because that's your automatic thought. But you can always control your second thought. So that's something that you need to concentrate on, is to have positive self-talk, to make yourself believe in yourself more than anything else. And the fifth thing that I found for the most successful people in the world is that they read often. The average CEO reads 60 books per year. 60. And we're talking about CEOs. These are people who are already at the top of companies. Read 60 books per year. That's more than one per week. And so if you look back at the past year, how many books have you read this year? If you want to be successful, don't you think you should just take a page out of a successful person's book and follow these 5 steps and go, all right, well, if they read 60 books in a year, maybe I could read once a month. And then maybe after you start going once a month, maybe you decide I could probably do once a week or twice a month, whatever it might be. But you realize if these people are successful, there's steps to being successful. Take a page out of their book and do exactly what they do, right? These people are constant learners. And one of the things my first mentor used to talk about was Kaizen. It's a Japanese word for constant, never-ending improvement. We should all be on this journey of Kaizen, of constantly never-ending improvement, trying to improve every single day. And the people that are already at the peak of peaks, these CEOs, are still constantly trying to improve themselves and make themselves better. So don't you think that we should, if we're not where we want to be at this point? So once again, those are the 5 things. Number 1 is they wake up early. Number 2 is that they write down their goals and they make them physical. Number 3 is that they have mentors and coaches. Number 4, positive self-talk. They believe in themselves. They have confidence. They figure out what's going on in their brain and they make sure they wire it the way that they want to with positivity. And the 5th thing is that they read very often. So if you like this episode, please do me a favor. Please give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you have any comments, please type them down below. And I have new episodes that come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you want to see more, go ahead and click the subscribe button as well. But I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon.